Hello and welcome back. What would happen if millions of Nigerians affected by kidnapping, terrorism, and banditry decided to unite under one voice? What if victims, survivors, and families of those killed or adopted created a national movement demanding answers, accountability, and a new approach to security? It is a question that may sound hypothetical, but it raises one of the biggest political issues facing Nigeria today. Across the country, insecurity has created a large population of people whose lives have been directly changed by violence. Some have lost loved ones, some have paid huge ransom, some have abandoned their homes, and others continue to wait for family members still trapped in captivity. But despite the number, many of these victims remain scattered, unheard, and politically invisible. Now, imagine if all those voices came together. Imagine a union representing the interests of kidnapping victims, survivors of terrorism attacks, displaced communities, and families affected by insecurity. Would such a movement become one of the most influential voices in Nigerian political conversation? Nigeria's security crisis is not only measured by statistics. Behind every kidnapping figure is a human story. A father taken from his children, a mother waiting for a son who may never return, a farmer forced to abandon his land, a community living under constant fear. These individual tragedies, when combined, represent a much larger social and political force. The question is whether these millions of affected Nigerians could transform the pain into organized action. In many democracies, groups formed around shared experiences often influence public policy. Veteran workers, pensioners, civil rights groups, and victims associations have historically pushed government to respond to issues that might otherwise be ignored. So what if Nigerians kidnapping victims followed a similar path? Could they demand stronger security policies? Could they force political leaders to answer difficult questions? Could they become a major factor during elections? The idea raises uncomfortable questions for every government. When victims of insecurity organize, they are no longer individual cases appearing briefly in news reports. They become a collective voice demanding accountability. For any administration, including President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government, such a movement could create a significant political challenge. Governments are often judged not only by policies announced in offices, but by how citizens experience those policies in real life. A family whose relative was kidnapped may not judge security improvement through official statistics. They may judge them by one simple question: was my loved one protected? This is why insecurity remains such a sensitive political issue. Security is not like many other government responsibilities because failure can involve the loss of lives. For victims and their families, the consequences are permanent. However, forming a union would also come with challenges. Could such a large and diverse group maintain a common goal? Would political actors attempt to influence or divide it? Would different regions and communities affected by insecurity be able to work together? Nigeria's insecurity crisis affects different areas in different ways. Some regions struggle with terrorism, others with banditry, kidnapping, communal conflicts, or criminal networks. Bringing all these experiences together would require strong leadership and a clear national agenda. But the potential influence cannot be ignored. A coordinated victims movement could demand better emergency response, stronger protection for vulnerable communities, transparency in security spending, and greater support for survivors rebuilding their lives. It could also change the way politicians discuss insecurity. Instead of security being treated as a political argument between parties, victims could place human experiences at the center of the conversation. As Nigeria moves towards the 2027 election, the question of security will likely become increasingly important. Political parties will present different explanations and solutions, but victims and their families may ask a more direct question: what has changed in our lives? The power of a victims' union would not necessarily come from numbers alone. It will come from the moral force of people who have experienced the consequences of insecurities firsthand. A government can debate figures and policies, but it becomes more difficult to ignore citizens standing together and saying their experiences must be addressed. The possibility of such a movement raises a deeper question about democracy itself. Do citizens affected by major national problems have enough influence over the decisions that affect their lives? If Nigeria's kidnapped victims, survivors, and affected families ever formed a united organization, it could become a powerful reminder that every security statistics are real people with real stories. The future of Nigerian security debates may not be only shaped by politicians and security officials. It may also be shaped by those who have suffered the most. Because sometimes the strongest political voices are not created by power, they are created by shared pain. What do you think? If kidnapping victims and their families formed a national union, could they change Nigeria's security debates and influence political decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this report informative, like this video, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis of Nigerian stories shaping Africa and the world. I'm Chimezrim Okoro, and thanks for watching.